But Erin spent the rest of that year, which was the majority of the year, probably 7 of the 9 months, teaching that class. She loved it. She had one little boy named Moses, and he was a STEM winder. All sorts of labels had been given to him and everything else. But she worked with him, she worked with the class, and she worked with the parents in the home. And she told me at one time, she said, I just love this. I said, I knew you would. You're a great teacher. Come to find out next year, they hired her on full time, and then she got the requirements for the paperwork. As a substitute, she didn't fill it out. She didn't have to do the No Child Left Behind filing. She didn't have to do the Chicago School Board filing. She didn't have to do the Illinois School Board school filings. She just taught. Now, she didn't expect that she would get away with that forever, but she never expected all of the load of paperwork. And she said with tears in her eyes to me one day, Dad, I don't know if I'm cut out to teach. I'm so frustrated. I just don't have time to get through to my kids. I can't do what I want to do, and I know I could do successfully. And the reason why the principal hired her on full time, because of what she was. And so that type of thing just adds cost. But I think we have to look at all of those areas. And if we said, I've said the approach that I would take would be to come up with a percentage cut across the board except in defense spending. That doesn't mean we don't look at the Defense Department for waste and abuse. But we look at all of the other departments and we say, we're going to do a 10% cut across the board, or a 5%. Whatever is politically feasible, we go for what we can get. We say every department head and every secretary of every agency, you will come up with across the board 5% cut. Come back to us, we'll take a look at it. But we don't want to get involved with the politics of it. You tell us your best effort, what you believe you can cut without ruining everything you're supposed to do. 5%, or 10%, or 3%, whatever it is we determine. I think that's how we started. And that's how we do it in our home operations. That's what you do in businesses. In businesses have taken 15, 20, 25% cut or more. In homes, some have taken 100% cut, and that's why they're unemployment. So, and let me just add one other question. One other important component of that is that constituents back in the districts commit themselves to understanding that it is going to take some pain. And you've got to stand behind your member in Congress if they're doing the right thing. You have to stand behind and say, you know, I know it's tough. I know you're going to get hit. I know it's going to hurt me in some of these things. But we've got to do it if we're going to turn this country around. In the state legislature, when I was there from '83 through 1990 with Jim Blanchard, overtaxed, overspent. I fought against it all the way through those years. Engler took off in '90. Then we began to right size, downsize, restructure government, cut taxes, and I know we cut almost 30 times because I co-sponsored 26 of those tax cuts. We cut spending. We did away with some departments. We consolidated. You remember they called them Johnny Scissors Hands and anybody but Engler and all of that went on. And yet when I was term limited in 1999, January, I left and there was over $1 billion rainy day fund and a budget surplus. And the $1.8 billion budget deficit had been totally paid off. And businesses were returning to the state and the unemployment was going down to 5%. And we were saying, happy days are here again. But then constituents and legislators decided we're fat and happy and we can spend. And here we are again, $1.8 billion budget deficit with a budget that hasn't been completed and the legislature gone home. So it's a constant effort. Citizens and elected public servants working together to say, no, this is what we have to do for the good of our country, not just us. So